The very first and main ingredient of anything to do with global village or anything that you might construe that means, as Patrick McGowan showed so beautifully in his work, is collectivism. Absolute 100% chronic collectivism, in which you don't have to think for yourself. It's that Orwellian dystopia in which, you may not be wearing grey uniforms like they dramatized it, but you will be wearing a uniform of sorts in your mind. Today, all the kids, the teens, everybody in the world that you can think of today, from Tokyo to West Coast America to, Venice Beach, everybody has an illusion of individualism. Everybody has an individual, because they can wear this fashion, they can be into that fashion, they can, drink this kind of coffee, and they can like that TV show. It's all an illusion, a veneer of individualism or difference, when in fact underneath it, it's a complete samity. Because it's samity in consciousness, it's samity in attitude. It's certainly samity in an individual's relationship to their own self. They're not interested in their own self. They're running away from their own individuality. They can't wait to join some other group or get married or whatever it might be, to lose themselves in some cause. And so even in the so-called conspiracy movement, I noticed this same trend. I'm going to be very blunt about it, that even in this great movement, you still see some of that same, pernicious thing entering in which there's still a focus too much on the external. If we could just get rid of Big Brother, if we could just stop the war. I mean, that's been going on for centuries. How come people don't realize that doesn't work? Because people are in the groove of losing their selfhood in any way that they can. So to come back to the point that you've been asking, is that now the celestial clock is simply assisting us. It's not going to do the work for us, believe me.
Yeah.
But the planetary alignments and the way that the zodiac is right now does mirror a certain period, a certain phase, in which a certain kind of light will be shone, so to speak, in which a person who is toying with these ideas might have things happen in their life that help them along the road to come to that great sense of psychic sovereignty. And then what happens on the other side is that those who resist it will have hell on earth. So the very things that you see or other people see that are what considered traumatic on the world today, all of that taken together, whether it's economic or what have you, I know again, I can justify my whole premise that is, again, I say it's rooted in the psyche of man, because it's brought about because man has this one peculiarity. He only learns, he only changes, as Schopenhauer so beautifully pointed out, when he suffers. So the other side of this dynamic, the other side of the psyche, like Carl Jung said, that which you do not make conscious will appear in front of you as fate. Well, what is appearing in front of us as fate now, both in the domestic situation and people's intimate relationships? And I know that the people listening to the sound of my voice right now know exactly what I'm talking about. And in the work environment, and then in the love life environment, and then the social environment, all that meltdown, I don't know how many ways I can say it, but I'll say it again, is based on the psyche of the individual. That reality is projected from the reality of how you relate and see yourself, highly colored by the conditioning that you've had from that world. Obviously, it's a feedback loop. The way you see yourself is based on how people have made you see yourself and so on. But you've got to untangle yourselves from that cross. You've got to come down from that twisted rope where there are these two demons on your shoulder, the demon of how the world has made you see yourself, and then how you yourself inwardly have corroborated in that dictatorship and do see yourself. So at 2012, there's a chance now that the glue fades and you can pull apart. You can magically get in there and separate and basically cut these demons down. The demon of how you've been conditioned, you can get a handle on that, and this own inner punitive voice that makes you far less than who you can be, you have the chance to wring its frickin' neck